Hey, welcome to Donna and Friends. I hope everyone that's been watching the last few episodes has noted our fabulous new Donna and Friends set. I'm thoroughly enjoying it. You know, it's fun to kind of change things up from time to time, and I just love the new set. You know, I never know what kind of set they're going to put me in. It's kind of like, that you never know who or what's next on Donna and Friends. Well, now, Red Dirt Media Group and the Brickhouse Studios are just about to the point that I myself may not know what's next in the way of sets or who's coming on. Now, speaking of that, we've had some recent comments here at the studios. Hey, you know what? We ought to start doing a Donna log. So lots of talk went on, kind of going back and forth, and then it was like, hey, maybe we should try it out. So today, voila, it is my first Donna log for Donna and Friends. Hopefully this will be something that I'll do every show before we get into visiting with our guests, and I hope you enjoy it because a lot of times it's going to be weird news. And that is all about worldwide internet news that we all love to read. You know how you like that train wreck and you can't turn away from it. And that's the kind of thing I'll bring to you, as well as maybe some social media I might see locally that might strike me as odd as well. So we'll see how this thing goes as I get it started. But today, we've got 3 stories for you. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to start first with one that's titled, "Would-Be Burglar Covers Himself in Tar to Avoid Being Seen." But he's seen anyway by the cops. Go figure. And in Daytona Beach, Florida, police find this man covered in tar on the roof of a closed gas station before dawn. And he tells them he was just visiting family. You know what? They didn't buy that. They just didn't buy it. The Daytona Beach News Journal reports that Joshua Holloman, age 30, then tried to convince police officers he was a repairman who was atop of the Sunoco closed station at 3 a.m. because he heard noises coming from the air conditioners, okay? They didn't believe that one either. Finally, police say that he told them he had been sleeping on the roof and that he had smeared tar on himself so that he couldn't be seen. Police say that since he had this prying tool, with him, that they think he was a would-be burglar. Yeah. So they arrested him. They arrested him for attempted burglary. They arrested him for possession of burglary-type tools, and last but not least, criminal mischief. You know, it's been my experience that there's a lot of bizarre criminals in the state of Florida, and I can't quite figure that out, but I can assure you, at some point on another Donna log segment, we will have another Florida story from the Sunshine State, so not to worry. Now, this story is courtesy of HuffPost and the internet. All right, let's switch it up a little bit. Let's talk about this homeowner in Detroit who's willing to trade his house for an iPhone 6. I know, sounds crazy. I thought so too. So let's check it out. A desperate homeowner is trying to sell his dilapidated house in Detroit, and he said he's willing to swap the property for an iPhone 6. For months, this detached 2-story, 3-bedroom building has been on the market, obviously, and it's been dropped down to $2,000. And he's been unable to rid it because of the economic conditions there in Michigan City. Now, the owner actually lives in Australia. He's never visited the house. He's told his real estate agent, though, he's willing to exchange this property for a new Apple phone or even a 32 gigabyte iPad. Wow, pretty amazing to think about. Well, there's even more news. The home has stood empty since 2010. Taxes are now at $4,000, back taxes, and they're going to have to be paid by whoever would agree to do this. In other words, any owner that would buy this is going to pay this $4,000. Now, this real estate agent website boasts that the property has 3 bedrooms and a bathroom and a basement and a garage and a location just a few miles from downtown Detroit. However, any new owner is going to pay thousands and thousands of dollars on top of these back taxes to have this thing to where you can even live in it. It's got smashed up windows, it's got broken shutters, there's still some kind of old junky furniture in it, overgrown plants in the front yard. It's quite the situation. The real estate agent has said, my client is overseas, and he told me he would be willing to trade this property for that iPhone 6. It sounds like he wants the new version, but I think he's willing to negotiate. Well, I can't imagine a real estate agent even having to deal with this. I mean, that's got to be a situation in itself. It's not anywhere move-in ready, and the area is filled with similar houses in the same type of condition, the real estate agent also added. Now, this story comes courtesy of Mirror.com, off the World Wide Web. And I thought it interesting because, last month the new iPhone 6s were released. And every time there's several stories that will happen when they release these iPhone 6s about how they don't work right, which leads me to my next iPhone 6 story. And it's quite interesting as well. There is just more iPhone lunacy here. Okay, now we've all heard of Watergate. I know we have. So they're dubbing this like Bendgate or perhaps Hairgate. It's quite interesting, Here's the thing. In the fashion of Watergate, one can say that iPhone 6 users are waging complaints that could be dubbed first again as Bendgate. That's where these iPhone 6 users have purchased these phones and they've complained that when they try really, really hard, they can warp the aluminum casing of their iPhone. Seriously, why would anyone try to warp the shell of his or her new iPhone? And wouldn't they think that after trying to do so, that nothing was going to happen? I mean, come on. These people are now whining about this fine gap that's between the aluminum casing and the glass front of the device. They're saying that it is catching or pulling out facial hairs, like beard hairs, or, catching the hair on your head and pulling it. Yeah. And they're actually posting these Bendgate, Hairgate experiences on the web, on the website for the iPhone 6. And I'm thinking, wow, are you kidding? They've been doing this since the phone came out in September. And even the people that reported this story said that they tried to get the phone to catch, a hair or something, and they couldn't get it to do it. So I don't know how serious of a matter this is. But I'm thinking, gee, these folks should label themselves cray-cray-gate. I mean, we're actually bringing the complaints to the web, but then we all know that's what makes the web surf and turn now, isn't it? I mean, we all have our web freedom, I suppose. Let's do this. I'll tell you what. I've got my iPhone 4 here. I think that right now, in light of all this horrible iPhone 6 news, that I will just keep this iPhone 4 and let all these horrible flaws, these design flaws, pass me by. And then, once they're forgotten, maybe I'll see about upgrading my phone. I'll see if, someone else needs to discover the Watergate flaws of this iPhone 6. I'll just read about it, on the web. I think these people got too much idle time. It's way too much idle time. It's not worth trading a house for. It's not worth reporting a self-destructive, induced warped shell casing thing, or this occasional pluck of the hair casing of the shell as well. Wait. I don't know how we can fix this thing. Maybe if these people will all cover themselves in tar, the iPhone 6X and the retail store selling the product won't see how desperate and ridiculous the fans of the latest iPhone 6 market really are. There we go. That's what we'll do. Let's just tar these folks, and we won't see. We won't see it. That's my Donna and Friends Donna-log. We're going to have guests coming up next. In the meantime, hey, surf the web, but don't touch it too much because you want to come back to more Donna and Friends.
We're good. That was 11.
Tigers win! Tigers win! Tigers win! Lady Tigers are 2-2!